excited to kind of debut my like stream setup at home because I've just renovated my office to get it all right. I think we were chatting about this on Twitter, but then I had to come to the office for stuff today. Anyway, excited to jump in. So I enjoyed your walk through the blogs just now. Good education.
Yes. No, trying to basically, because you guys are being, trying to be a bit more, I guess, transparent about all the experiments you guys are doing. And and being, because like Twitch has like not had the best reputation of communication in the past.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing thing, back and forth.
Yeah, it's a really interesting. I was chatting with someone about this last week. I think we experimented about the same rate as many of the kind of big tech platforms, but I think there's something fundamentally different about a kind of platform where every Twitch channel is essentially a streamer-led community. So we have, I think, a much larger obligation to help you understand what we're doing, because this in some ways is your office and we're kind of messing around with the lights on any given day.
Yeah.
And so we do experiments for very good reasons and with very good intent always, but I think it's incumbent on us to help share more about when and why. And that obviously is even more important because it used to be, I mean, you guys have been here for forever. It used to be that there was not that many partners, and so it was fairly easy at the minimum to talk to you all. There's like enough of you to fill Wembley Stadium these days, and so the idea that we can kind of effectively communicate to everybody one-on-one is not true anymore, and so we've got to work just harder to make sure we're being transparent and clear about it.
I do personally think that's better anyway, because like it's really nice to have like a personal relationship with somebody who you can communicate with. Like there is obviously something to be said for that, but I think that a lot of the time when it comes to like relying on someone to convey to you what's happening and like what's going on, it can be like a lot of responsibility on that person, and it can sometimes mean that everyone's getting slightly different versions of what's happening, and that's not necessarily intentional. It's just the way that people communicate differently, or you know, even like language barriers, cultural barriers, you know, it can kind of just go a bit awry. And I think having Twitch say, hey, we're trying this thing and we'll let you know if it worked or not, is actually really like, it feels very helpful. And I think you're right as well about the idea of like the office lights. The stream kind of feels like your house, you know, like I view banning people as like, ooh, get out of my living room. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing here?
For sure.
So it can sometimes feel quite strange when people are like, oh, something's happening. I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? And like, especially with the nature of live streaming, as we all just saw, you know, you're always battling with the tech to an extent anyway, and going, right, I made a scene for this. Everything's ready to go. Oh, there's an echo. What's happening? Why is chat disconnected? So you've got that. And then on top of that, you've got like, oh, did you know I can pin a message now? And you're like, what does that mean? You know?
So it's probably worth me pointing out too, because not all experiments are the same. So we basically think of them as three different types. There's what we'd call a learn not launch, very internal lingo, but the concept there is we have no intention of ever actually rolling that out to everyone, even when we built it. We're trying to test a mechanic. A good example of that is, if you recall, mid last year, we had that carousel at the top of the browse directory where you could sample like 10 something streams for a minute without ads. We never built that with the intention to roll that out to 100% of people. That was helping us test mechanics for, if we let you preview streams without ads, and if we let you preview many streams before you make a selection, does that improve the chance that you find the right stream? Right? We learned from that to inform a bunch of products we ship later this year, which I'm happy to chat about. But it was a like, let's learn a thing, not let's actually just deploy that. We've got like a second category, which we call like a true experiment, which is like, we're very confident in the problem that we're trying to solve. We're not 100% confident in the solution that we are launching. And so you launch it to see if this helps. First time chatter highlight was that last year, which is like, we have a feeling that being a streamer, like you two are very good, and you've got an advantage, which is you've got two of you, that you remember names from, and you kind of, when you don't, you fake it. You do a good job of being like, hey, good to see you again. And you're kind of praying that you have seen that person. And they won't. And so that was like, great, we think this might make it easier. It could also be overwhelming and too much. So that's a true experiment. It ended up going great. That's why it's rolled out now. And then there's the third category, which is like, we're pretty confident that this is right and we intend on rolling it out, but there are 8 million active streamers. And so we need to make sure that this doesn't have any kind of unexpected consequences where it kind of craters revenue or does something really weird to your OBS or something. And so that's what we'd call like a phased rollout, which is like, it's coming to everyone. It will get to every channel. It just may be
there eventually.
But you have to understand the beast first.
Exactly.
Well, like we had that with the system that allows you to preload chat. So like when you open a channel, we've had it for
Chat
ages,
history.
where every time we open a channel, we'll see the last messages from the last minute or however long it is. And it gives you some context of what's going on in chat. And I actually forgot that wasn't everywhere on Twitch, because we were one of the early, like, I know the meme is that we never get any experiments, but we actually got that one, and it was really good. And it was
I don't know that's a meme. That's just Fred whinging.
Yeah, Fred wants
I like
them
to
all.
whinge. Look, I know I have my conspiracy that I find something new on Twitch and I fiddle with it, and so I've been blacklisted from ever getting any new features. But I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure I'm just paranoid.
Can't comment either way, mate.
But yeah, I know you guys had that with. It must be hard to like balance things with what streamers and viewers are demanding versus what is actually good for channels. I know you guys had chants for a while, which was like I think everyone loved, but the stats showed it was a negative.
Yeah,
it was a net negative for channels.
So it's interesting. I think there's a couple things. Like we have a huge advantage in that when you're building a big platform, it can be really hard to understand who your customer is when you've got 250 million people using it. And so it's easy to think of everyone as numbers. The biggest advantage we have is that we know exactly who our customers are. It's the two of you, right? We work every day to build 4 streamers. We're very lucky that we get pretty direct feedback from you all on what you need. And when we ship stuff that isn't what you need, like we hear from you pretty directly and viscerally, which is great. Shout out to anyone here who's built a user voice or participated in any of the panels at a TwitchCon or kind of just made stuff like this to chat with us. But what is certainly true is there's a very big difference between someone who's streaming for the second time, like a me, versus a Shroud, versus a Y'all, right? Like there's a very big spectrum and a continuum of folks. And then within your audience, there are really big spectrums as well. So chants, for example, great fun for people who do chat. Made chat, it turns out, scary and hard to participate in for people who've never chatted before. Like it made the whole thing feel overwhelming.
Okay.
Right? It was like rocking up at a frat party where everybody knew the secret song and was like busy kind of making weird sounds and you didn't know what the heck was going on.
And that's very much the experience we have as people who stream every day with the same people who coming in regularly, is that when new people come in, you're trying not to make the stream extremely opaque and confusing.
And niche.
And, you know, you want people to go, oh, this seems like a nice place to hang out, not be like, why is everyone screaming, you know, in a not fun way.
I don't understand why everyone's yelling at Sheldon. What's going on?
Yeah,
and the answer
what's
is like,
a
don't worry about
Sheldon? Why is he in the toilet? It just gets, you know, and
why is he always banned? Yeah.
It's fun to have for it not to feel like you just like walked into a shop and someone's like, how can I be of service? Like, it's fun to feel like there's something happening or there's a bit of a stream culture. But yeah, I totally understand why that would potentially stop new people from talking.
Yeah.
If you're like, what is this game? And then all of a sudden it's like 9,000 Keck W's scroll by and you're like, what does that mean?
What's going on?
I don't even have that emote.
Yeah, that unique culture that exists in channels, right? The fact that everybody here knows how to do the flex at the right time is what makes Twitch community special. So we don't want to make them vanilla and identical and always easy to access, but there's like a time and place. You know, you'll spend a lot of time trying to think about your stream very actively. You've got kind of lots of add-ons that you've built in. You know, Emily's got your famous threads of like how to be a good streamer 101 kind of thing, but not everybody does. And so a big chunk of what we're trying to do this year between like analytics, which you've seen a lot in that kind of letter, but also in these kind of audience management tools like the first time chatter highlights or the kind of streaks test that you may have seen floating around in the last couple of days, is if you're on live TV, you've got a little microphone in your ear and there's an EP telling you, go to, you know, cut to commercial XYZ. How do we give you some of that intelligence so that you could make a call? Like, it would be kind of nice if we could be like, most people here aren't following. Now's the time to do a reminder to follow. Or actually, it turns out it's just your subs here right now. And it's people who are like average 5 years of tenure. So you can be Mimi and you can get really into the jokes because it's a good time for that.
So like a virtual stream coach almost. Like
that would be such good information because call to actions are really helpful, right? For like anyone in chat who's never done content creation, saying, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, or saying, hey, if you're new, follow, you'll never find us again, especially as a variety stream. We'll have people regularly come in and go, oh, I watched you guys 3 years ago. I never found you again. I'm like, follow. So yeah, having that.
But it doesn't make sense for a stream of your size to have follow alerts turned on, right? You've got 75,000 of them. The incremental value of them is not the same thing as your attention for a sub or for a donation. So just how do we help kind of with some of that? So that's a bunch of the like analytics afterwards, but the kind of live, how do we bring those analytics live is a push you'll see more of.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's really helpful. I mean, even having those analytics saying, hey, around this time in your stream, you know, because for us, we have like segments where we'll like talk about topics at the beginning of the stream and then we'll jump into a game and you can say, hey, around this time, you usually get more new viewers than otherwise or whatever. Maybe that would be helpful to kind of assist with that. Because the other thing is, you know, it's all well and good to have a pop-up on screen going, hey, don't forget to follow. But sometimes you just end up with a lot of clutter and you have no idea if it's actually helping or if it's just adding noise for no reason. And I know that, especially with like the two of us and all the stuff we already have going on the stream, I do try and not add more things that people are like, what just popped up? What am I reading? You know, so I think that information, especially live, would be incredible. Like,
and I promise what we'll do is we will make sure that it's customizable along the way, because as I said, there's a massive spectrum of streamers and people need different things. But the intent is there to say, how do we just give you more information so you can make better creative decisions? We're really lucky. Everyone who's streaming on Twitch is more creative than, you know, me. And so rather than us try and be deterministic about exactly how it should work, we try and have good default so that you don't have to think as much, but it should also just be customizable for your group.
Well, it's an interesting experience because I know you've streamed before. I've seen you. I remember your inaugural Lego stream. Back when you had like no internet and you were like, good God, I'm just trying to build my thing and it's not working. But every time I have somebody come round or like appear on the stream, one of the first things they say is, there's a lot going on, isn't there? And it's like the experience of like when you're live and you're like, right, what's this doing? What's that doing? What am I doing next? Who's popping up in chat? Like when we were in the castle for the WoW thing and Gwendolyn Christie sat down and I was like, oh, she's going to think this is the most podunk thing in the world. You know, she is like a global celebrity and I'm sat in a corner on a dining chair in a castle like, hello. And she was like, oh, what's all this? What's that? That's the game. That's this. And I was like, even for somebody like her who is very used to a busy space, she was like, okay, and that's moving, and this is me, and
you're doing like, all of this, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, oh, so it is kind of an interesting experience.
I love this, Em, because this is one of the other things that makes our life really interesting when we build. Twitch streamers have an incredible intuition for what's true, even if you all can't prove it. And so this is a good example for me. One of the things that hopefully you'll see in that letter is a commitment from us to try and take on more responsibility for the work that you'll have to do, because streaming is hard work, right? It's just straight up hard work. I was chatting with somebody this morning, a very smart colleague of mine, and we pointed out like the number of hours you spend streaming probably hasn't changed since you all started like 10 years ago. It's probably about the same number of hours a day. In fact, I think the two of you may even stream slightly less because you're sensible about your mental health. Around that, the amount of work that's required of the two of you to now think about a YouTube, a TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, like all of the other elements, the amount of work that's gone into being a streamer has just done this the last like 5 years. And that can't actually be good for your creativity either. So, you know, it's very hard to be funny and entertaining if you're also tired and you've been working your butt off. And that's thankfully what chat's here for.
Like chat, go, bring me something.
As a streamer, it's that you have to be an artist in multiple crafts. You have to be good at copywriting. You have to be a good video editor. You have to be good at taking your own mugshots if you need to take mugshots.
they're not mugshots, they're headshots.
Oh yeah,
you've not been arrested.
And I definitely feel you on that. And I know you've got some experiments coming up that are like planning on making that a little bit easier. I saw you guys have been experimenting with maybe a vertical video editor for clips.
Yeah, so this is like, think of it in a couple ways here, which is one, the great thing about streaming as a kind of content creator writ large, right? Even if you don't think of yourself as a streamer exclusively, is your stream ends up being the bulk of the content that you can then edit up and send out to other places. So it's like, it's a fantastic place to your community. Obviously, it means you've got all your subs, but it's also now you've got this block of video that you can turn into all of your pieces. What we were hearing from folks though is it's like people were spending 45 minutes a day turning 2 or 3 Twitch clips into TikToks. And I was like, good Lord, that feels like something we ought to be able to automate into 1 minute.
Yes.
You know, 5 minutes at the outside. You've got a set number of scenes in OBS. How do we help you go and kind of tell us, right, when I'm in these different scenes, here's how it should work. And then you should be able to apply that format to clips as they come through and then be able to kick them out. So that, yes, you'll see that basically in the next quarter, which is really exciting.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm
What that
actually
would
so excited for that.
do, and I throw this out now, we mentioned it in the letter, but I'll throw this out now in our like true experiment, is if we then had a corpus of great vertical edited video content, it would make it more easy for us to build a feed within Twitch that would allow people to go and look at content like that when you're not live.
That is, yeah.
So
I think that
we should acknowledge the rest of that ecosystem,
Yeah.
but we should
Yeah.
make it easier for you to make that. And if we've got those videos, why not do more with them for you?
yeah, that
Lean
makes
into what
perfect
works.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, I mean, discovery has always been a big issue for Twitch. It's like, I feel like it's the biggest question Twitch has is how do we increase discoverability when you have thousands of streamers who all want to be discovered at the exact same time, but like
like viewers who only want to go back into the same places that they've been before, and you want to increase that. And I remember back in the day, gosh, I can't even remember what it was called. Twitch had essentially like a community
Pulse.
tab feature, Pulse. Twitch introduced this like kind of social media side.
Yeah.
And
Right,
nobody
2018, you're amazing, all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was only 2018. It felt like it was longer. God, that was 5 years ago. Well, either way, it was a long time. I remember Pulse, and I know, I feel bad mentioning Pulse. It didn't go well. I know, but I think that was a mistake. I didn't like Pulse. I thought it was stupid. I was like, what is this? I come here for live streams. All these years later, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Sure. Like that ability to communicate with the people who follow you in other ways.
I think there's a couple things that all play in there, right? The first of which is to say, Twitch discovery has been organized the way it has because the intent here is to say community requires repetition, right? You can't get people who watch often and have kind of tenure and go on to have the emotional connection that leads to subs. If it is just the kind of pure algorithmic feed where you see something awesome once, but there's chances are you'll never see it again.
Yeah,
sure.
Right. And that's particularly exacerbated by the ephemeral nature of live content. Like you have to be there when it's live or you can't see it. Yeah. So we optimized down a particular path that made it easier to build kind of followers and subs, but does, to your point, mean that like it is harder to find net new. I think it's fair to say that ads are like an imperfect monetization mechanism for that too, particularly when it comes to pre-roll. And so you've seen us experimenting with, we want you to make the dosh. Our fundamental mission statement is how do we help streamers make money? Right, build businesses and make money. And so we think ads are really important, but also how do we kind of time them right? So you've seen us experimenting in a couple directions there. But I think there's two other truths that kind of run out, which is like, the first is, I think we've seen in the last year that it is entirely possible that social platforms kind of, can change and expand. And so you've built this beautiful follower base on Twitch, but then you have to go and try and talk to them in like 9 different places, and you never get all of them because we haven't done enough to talk to them when you're offline. So one opportunity there for us for sure. And I think the second one is Twitch might be excellent for building and keeping community engaged, but there's not enough passive discovery there for you. And so there's more that we can do. There's always a risk that you spoil the thing that is truly great by trying to do something different, right? We're going to be careful to make sure, to my point about the third type of experiment, if we don't want to disrupt your revenue and your community and all of those things. But I think there's a lot more that we can do. And so a big theme we have for this year is like, how do we try and remove the work from streaming for you so that it is more fun? And at a minimum, you feel like your ROI for being a streamer goes up because we've kind of reduced the amount of effort that you have to put in for the returns you're getting.
And you'll see better streams from that. You'll see more interesting content. You'll see people more willing to take risks. Because I will say, like, as a streamer, there is always a huge amount of, like, worry that when you change something, some people won't like it as much. You'll put a lot of effort into new scenes or a new idea, and then everyone will hate it, and you'll have wasted that block of time that you could have used to do something that would have been good but may not have been as good. Like, you want to try something special, but the risk isn't there. The risk isn't worth it. And I will say, like, from the perspective of people like us who have been streamers such a long time, like an unbelievably long time in the grand scheme of the internet, we have seen so many people come and go. Like, way more streamers have left than we still know now, which is natural. That's how it is in content creation. But I will say, especially recently, I've seen a lot of people going with the addition of more work. it's just become harder to make it viable. And people are saying, right, I've got to make TikToks, I've got to run all these social accounts.
And not everyone can be a video editor. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And people lean towards live streaming because they're like, I'm better live than I am scripted, let's say, or I feel like I connect better with an audience. And I think that allowing that work to shrink down and allowing to turn fun moments and content that you had into something that lasts a little bit longer would really potentially help keep streamers in the job and doing the thing and making the content and having a good time, even if it's not their full-time thing. Because I mean,
well, that's what this is designed to do as well, just by the way, right? What you've done really well is turned your chat into part of the content, and you managed to kind of generate stimulus from them. But the whole point of Guest Star is to be able to do this. You don't have to do all the content for this segment. You can be like, right, Robbo, get up here. Let's talk about it. And it, again, takes that burden off of you, and you could run, you know, an entire community AMA if you wanted to. We could have a Meet the Mods segment where we're like, all right, who are these people who've been banning me forever, right? Like, everybody's time to finally meet Noel. You know,
he'd love that. He's definitely the mod who'd want to be on most.
Exactly. And so a lot of the things that we're trying to do there is just like, how do we reduce that kind of burden on you?
Yeah. Well, it also allows, you want to come on? It's not much work. And that's the greatest thing, right? Is that, like, I want to do more things like this. They're fun. They're spontaneous. It's kind of the point of live content is for things to happen, you know.
Dialogue, And but yeah, as a streamer, it's I'm sort of like caught in this, like, when it comes to growth and stuff like that, I'm caught in this very selfish position of I want you guys to promote my stream when I'm live to everyone who's following me, make sure I'm at the top of the following list. On the For You on the left-hand side, I want my name with a little star in it. So I want everyone who watches my stream to come back to my stream, because obviously I don't want to lose anyone. But also, please just put my stream in front of other people's viewers, so I can get new, new people there as well. But don't put any of my viewers in front of anyone new, because I don't want to lose it. It's
That is, honestly, that's a there is an expectation on Twitch historically that I truly love, actually, which is my channel is mine, right? And so there is an expectation that there is a degree of control there that we want to make sure we respect. But I think you're also pointing to something there, Fred, which is like, if we want to, like, channels are not live more than they're live, and viewers arrive on not live channels. And the answer, the question there is like, how do we help that viewer have a great experience such that they come back to Twitch tomorrow, right? Even if it wasn't the exact channel that they were intending to go to. And I think we've done a pretty good job over the last couple of years of finding that balance of, like, your recommended streamer list on your offline channel page, which allows us to redirect viewers, but also allows you to have a say in who that is, because your channel page is also your brand. And there are, you know, certain streamers that you may not wish to associate with your brand, or certain games that you may not wish to be associated with, or any of those kind of activities. And so I think there's a balance we can find there. But I think there's a lot of that which we're going to have to work towards. It's like, to give everybody the outcomes they want, there are trade-offs. But one of the things that I love about my job is that when we are having that trade-off, we do it as publicly as we can, even if people don't always love the nuance of the discussion.
I definitely think that in terms of everything, like, everything you've said that you're working on sounds really awesome, genuinely beneficial as a streamer, because obviously features come out that are cool but may not be, you know, something that you need right now. But I do think that everything that you've said, you know, in terms of, like, live analytics and things like that, super helpful for pretty much everybody. But that being said, I do also think that, like, one of the major struggles has been communication, and, like, what's going on. People will shout, what about discoverability? And it's hard to answer those questions, or what about X and Y? And I do think personally that, like, having that, like, removing some of that opacity and being like, yo, this is what we're doing, this is what's happening, this is why we kept it or didn't keep it. Like, I really wanted chance. You turned around and said, nah, they actually are worse and we're taking them away. I can't argue with that.
No,
like, if you said chance don't work, why wouldn't I want to believe you in that? So while I went from being frustrated I didn't have a feature I thought I wanted, I'm told, nah, you don't want that. And I'm like, cool, okay, so it's gone.
But I do.
You know?
I appreciate that feedback. I think, honestly, we've got more to do there, and props to a whole bunch of people internal to Twitch who've been pushing hard for that, which is to be like, the more we share, the more that the community will understand. I think we're probably working our way out of a trust gap with some of y'all. Like, I think there are people who reasonably feel like we haven't communicated enough in the past, and therefore they want to, more from us. Show me that you can do this for a full year, and then I'll believe you when you tell me that chants weren't good, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I have been shouting from the rooftops for my 6 years here that, like, hosting not the thing that you think it is. There's certainly still a lot of people who feel like we did them a dirty by taking that away.
Yeah, hosting was contentious. It was a big deal.
It shouldn't have been. It was 0.01% of hours watched were generated through hosting. But what I think we heard in it was actually, it felt like something that people controlled. I'm a small streamer and I don't know what I can do to get discovered. Hosting other people and having them host me feels like something within my control. And so when you rob somebody of agency, they are understandably upset.
And it's a community building tool between streamers, if that makes sense. So if I host you, you're like, oh, friend Emily like me, and then you host back, and it's just if anything, it was more streamers going, I've got you, mate.
It was pleasantries, yeah.
A collaboration tool that looked like a discovery tool. And so we've had this happen in the past where the team working on discovery is like, that doesn't do very much for discovery. And actually it was really important for collaboration and of those other elements. So lots to do there. I think the like communities were a bit like that. Again, to age ourselves into 2018. Actually net bad for viewers, but quite helpful for creators. And so we've got a bit more there to help streamers. So hopefully, in fact, not even hopefully, it is our intention to keep this up. This is not a one-time flash in the pan. I don't think I swore too much today, so you might let me back on stream occasionally.
I love it. This was so fun.
We'd like to keep with the community as often as we can and keep publishing as much about what we're doing as we can.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask, do you have any spoilers for us to close out?
Oh, what do we have in terms of spoilers? I think you'll see some of those feed experiments in the first half of the year. That wouldn't, to be clear, not necessarily on your channel or in your app or those things, but we are definitely pushing in that direction that I think is really important. I think we also, and we talked a little bit about this in the blog, we will keep experimenting with where is the right time and place for ads, because we would like to make sure that when you are new to a channel, you're not getting overrun with kind of pre-rolls. It is really important to us that streamers continue to make good money out of ads, because we think we haven't helped people make enough money from ads over the last little while. We also think that your audiences understand that ads are important to you and want to make some of that money. But I think you'll see more of those experiments, a little bit like that kind of channel switcher that I talked about before as we run down. And then on a personal spoiler front, I'm going to be at TwitchCon Paris, so hopefully the two of you will be as well.
Hopefully. The dates are a bit like, we're a bit stuck between dates right now, but I want to go for at least one day.
It's Sophie's 30th birthday, so on the 8th. So we have to try.
Paris is a famously terrible city to go out in. So she would probably hate Paris for her birthday.
I mean, she would.
Paris is a train ride away. We might be able to just go for one day and then come back.
It is literally a train ride away.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to talk and see if we can find a time at least to hang out with you and Jez. Yes. I think that'd be so fun. Also, we never went to Paris together, so that would be nice. But yay, it would be really good, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you. And I honestly cannot thank you enough for coming.
No,
and, it was literally Robbo's suggestion to do this. So round of applause to Robbo. Thank you so much. I would love to chat again about other things that are coming up.
I'm so excited by the experiments communication. I think is awesome.
Give him tough questions. Yo, Twitch.
There's actually John Twitch in your chat. All right, hit me with a spicy one. Give me one tough one to finish.
What's the biggest pain in the ass when it comes to designing things for streamers? Like, what makes you say these fucking streamers?
I don't know that we'd ever turn around and be like, these fucking streamers. I think one of the things that is very hard though is thinking about sometimes there's the right tool, and then sometimes there's the how do we get adoption of the right tool. And sometimes you have to build a less good solution because it is very hard to get people to adopt the right one because it's work, right? So the thing I would most love to solve is how do we build your right now, I'll give you an example. Some people are looking at chat in a pop-out, and some people are looking at chat on the channel page, and some of you have the Stream Manager open for chat, and some of you have like an OBS plugin where you're looking at chat. And as a result, all of that kind of intelligence that we're trying to kind of give you while you're live, the only reliable place we know every streamer is watching is chat. We actually don't know what else you're looking at because you could be looking at anything. And as a result, we put all sorts of stuff in chat, and that makes it hard to read for you. which is its own problem. So I would love to be able to work out how do we solve a place where we can reliably get every streamer kind of seeing when they're live, so that we could build you the right set of features that can pop up at the right time and not just pile everything into chat.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good answer to that question. We also have Kelsey, who said, spicy question, show us Rex.
Show me Rex.
Rex is the name of my dog. If I were at home, I would totally do that.
Disaster.
Okay, so next time, maybe dog reveal.
He is a very cute Australian Shepherd.
Right, chat. I think we're going to lose Robbo. Do you have any last-minute emergency questions before we let him go free? Because he has been a legendary guest.
Yes, and I think we're
great. And
hopefully we're not delaying
Twitch.
you from anywhere else.
I'm
though.
asking Twitch before they're like, I mean, they're here. I feel like I need to ask them more.
I will put a dog pic in Discord. I will do that.
Okay.
Steve, you know the answer. This hot dog is a taco, not a sandwich.
Stunning.
There's only one piece of bread.
What the? So yeah, I can't think of any other. Sorry.
I'll let you get back to your memes and your streams.
Sure.
Thank you so much, gang.
All right.
Chat.
Thank you very much,
Have a good
Robbo.
That's been
It's
amazing.
good to have you.
You're a legend.
Everyone, give a round of applause for Tom coming on and talking to us. It's awesome. And yeah, I'll let you go.
We'll
I'm
chat
sure you got
again
busy
soon.
things to do.
For me.
Make my channel even better.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yay.
Bye. Awesome. There you go.
Stunning.
And let's bring this back. Way.
Hey! That went reasonably well.
That went all right.
No, I mean there was some slight echoing
Well,
at the
it's a
beginning.
bit of
but other than
jank,
that,
but it's okay. So
that's the charm of live
look,
content, right?
it's Twitch, okay? It's built upon spit and duct tape, okay, chat? Look,
What a
listen.
great bloke.
Also-
That is what you should take from this.
BT coming in with the tier 2, 71 months. Also,
Thank
Jez.
you so much.
Thank you for when did alerts unpause? By the way,
Yeah,
is
we
what I want to
paused
know.
our alerts, and then Jez gifted a sub, and they were like,
Gifted
I'm
us up
not
to
paused.
Twitch, by the way.
Oh, Twitch! Enjoy your month, babe.
And then Moose is coming in with 5 gift subs. Thank you very much, Mooses. To Blue Square, Old Norse, Wiggles13, Silly Plunker, and Old Dirty Sloth.
Welcome to Mug Life. Welcome to the way of the Dragonflex. Now, chat.
I had so many questions, but it just felt like the conversation was flowing too good. I was
was
like,
flowing
I
really
was
well.
biting my tongue though. I was
Well, you should have asked.
Well, I
It's
didn't
a
want to.
Q&A
I didn't want to
thing.
talk over you. That's all my only thing.
So what was that the problem?
No, you were in the problem.
Me,
That-
I'm the problem.
That's a whole new sentence, then.
No, you just said
But guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully we can get Rob on again.
Yeah.
Tom, I don't know why you call him Rob. Twitch.
Yeah.
It's Mark. Oh god, I need to delete that alert so bad. Master of Bits, thank you for sub. Appreciate this community. Twitch, thank you very much for the very nice website you have.
Yay.